Hello everyone and welcome to SpaceWeek Live for Sunday, May 30th, 2021, episode number 74. That's right, this is the 74th episode of SpaceWeek, which started back in September 2019. I went back and actually numbered the episodes because I wasn't really keeping track. You can see here the SpaceWeek playlist on my channel has all the back episodes, so if you want to go back and refer to something, you're always free to do so. But yeah, let's see. I'd like to start out, unfortunately, I would like to start out on a very serious note by honoring the memory of our friend Mike Schiff, aka Warhawk Me, who was a supporter of this channel, a longtime presence over at Lab Padre, and a friend to Felix at What About It as well. Mike passed away on Friday after a long fight with kidney disease. Rest easy, friend, and thank you for everything. I did not have the chance to meet Mike in person, but I know Felix and Lab did, yeah, he will definitely be missed. It's always very sad to see a friend go, and his memory will live on. Looking to the events of the past week, actually a little beyond the past week, on Saturday, May 22nd, Sol 91 of the Mars 2020 Perseverance mission, the Ingenuity helicopter flew for the 6th time. This is an image taken by the helicopter at an altitude of about 10 feet. This time, however, there was an anomaly that almost ended the exocopter's career. I just made up that word, exocopter. Rather than trying to paraphrase from the experts, I'll just read an excerpt from NASA's own description of the event. The flight was designed to expand the flight envelope and demonstrate aerial imaging capabilities. Ingenuity was commanded to climb to 10 meters before translating 150 meters to the southwest. It was then to translate 15 meters to the south while taking images, then fly another 50 meters northeast and land. Telemetry shows that the first 150-meter leg of the flight went off without a hitch, but toward the end of that leg, something happened. Ingenuity began adjusting its velocity and tilting back and forth in an oscillating pattern. Let me bring up a video here. This is video from Ingenuity where you can see it wiggling, wobbling back and forth. This behavior persisted throughout the rest of the flight. Prior to landing safely, onboard sensors indicated that it encountered roll and pitch excursions of more than 20 degrees, large control inputs, and spikes in power consumption. Approximately 54 seconds into the flight, a glitch occurred in the pipeline of images being delivered by the navigation camera. This glitch caused a single image to be lost, but more importantly, it resulted in all later navigation images being delivered with inaccurate timestamps, because the navigation images are how Ingenuity navigates it. That's how it knows where it is. From this point on, each time the navigation algorithm performed a correction based on a navigation image, it was operating on the basis of incorrect information about when the image was taken. The resulting inconsistencies significantly degraded the information used to fly the helicopter, leading to estimates being constantly corrected to account for phantom errors. Large oscillations, as we can see here, ensued. Despite this anomaly, Ingenuity was able to maintain flight and land safely within approximately 5 meters of the intended location. One reason it was able to do so is the considerable effort that went into ensuring that the helicopter's flight control system has ample stability margin. They designed Ingenuity to tolerate significant errors without becoming unstable, including errors in timing. So this is yet another case of the engineers at JPL going above and beyond to build in redundancy and intelligence into their, space probe systems, so that they can handle unexpected situations rather than just rolling over and dying. So absolute bravo to NASA JPL and everyone involved in that project for building a really impressive machine that's able to correct its own errors safely. That's incredible. Werner von Braun, our late friend's name is Mike Schiff. That's SCHIFF. Okay. So, wobbly boy. Then on Wednesday, SpaceX launched yet another batch of 60 Starlink satellites. Starlink 28. This is the 28th batch, bringing the total currently orbiting to 1,635. Let's check out the launch real quick. Launch. Do we have audio?
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
A little bit shaky there. Complete success, as we have come to expect from
So keep an eye out.
SpaceX launches.
Stage 1, landing leg, deploy.
Fantastic. Right down the middle. That's our 85th successful recovery. 100th, 18th successful launch of the Falcon 9.
And the deployment way here at the end.
Formation of payload deployment.
And there they go, off into the sunrise, apparently.
Away from the second stage. Shortly, they will deploy.
Just an update on my own Starlink service. You can see the little angular, if you're not already familiar, this little modem, this little device back here.
They've got onboard ion thrusters, and that'll help them make their way into their final operational orbit.
That is the Starlink router. That's connected to the satellite dish outside, dishy. I don't yet have it mounted up high. It's currently sitting on its tripod in the lawn, but this stream is not being, this show is not being streamed on Starlink because it's not quite ready for that level of upload yet. But I use there we go. I use Starlink on my phone. That's mainly where I do my testing, but I haven't yet mounted it yet because I want to try to videotape the process. Videotape, that's an antiquated term, but anyway, I want to try to record the process of setting it up for posterity. I know I'm not a home improvement channel, but I figured it's, Starlink is such a quintessentially SpaceX thing that it's relevant. Oracle from the Lab Padre Nerdle, thank you for coming, and I wish that I had had more time to get to know Mike, but glad for the time we did have. Okay, moving on to Friday, an Arianespace Soyuz launched the 7th OneWeb batch of satellites, 36 OneWeb satellite internet satellites, from Vostochny Cosmodrome in far eastern Russia, bringing the total number of OneWeb satellites to 218. Now, this was an Arianespace launch, but the rocket, of course, was a Soyuz, which is manufactured in Russia. The launch site was Vostochny, which is in Russia, and the mission control was Russian. So I'm not sure if Russia is if everything is Russian all the way down the pipeline. I'm not sure exactly how Arianespace is squeezed in the middle there, but in any case, it was an Arianespace Soyuz, because OneWeb launches through Arianespace, not through Roscosmos or Glavcosmos, the Russian commercial launch entity. But let's check out that launch.
Зажигание. Предварительно. Промежуточное. Главное. Подъем.
Прошел контакт подъема. Двигатель центрального и боковых блоков вышли на режим главной ступени. 10 секунд. Параметры системы управления ракетой в норме. 20 секунд. Двигатели первой и второй ступени работают нормально.
The views from the ground weren't that great, but Roscosmos provided us with some excellent rocket cam views, and see if we can. There's stage separation.
110 секунд. Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме. Есть выключение.
Do we still have our boosters? No, we lost the boosters. Where did they lose the boosters? There we go. The 4 side boosters peel off and form that iconic Korolev cross. And the deployment of... So it wasn't the 36 Oneweb satellites that were deployed from the rocket. It was the a carrier module that a structure that has the 36 satellites mounted to the outside of it. And oh, here on the right we can see it. And I think that is a Breeze M engine we're seeing on the bottom of it there, floating away, which is going to do the final delivery of the satellites to their target orbits. And there we see a rendering of the upper stage. All right. Then on there, let's clean up here. Then on Saturday, a Chinese a Chinese Long March 7 launched the Tianzhou 2 cargo spacecraft to the CSS, or the Chinese space station. I don't know if CSS is an official acronym, but in English it should be. Tianhe-1 is the module name, the core module of the Chinese space station, and this is what they launched to. There wasn't much of a live broadcast available during the launch. All we had was it was like a citizen with a video camera, a handheld video camera, shaky cam, but apparently China did post video after the fact. So let's check that out. 'So they had experienced a couple of scrubs on previous launch attempts for this mission, and rumor had it that at least the second scrub was caused by a power outage, I guess, at the Wenchang launch facility. I don't know. I didn't see like official well, there wouldn't have been official confirmation, but I didn't see any sort of reliable source corroborating that. But that's what I heard, was that it was due to a power outage. Hopefully that wasn't just someone trolling, because people do that, and then people like me repeat it, and then it becomes the new narrative, and it's a complete falsehood. But hopefully that's not the case. And then it arrived just 8 hours and 6 minutes later. So it was a fast trip up, and automated docking with the Chinese space station. So here we see, I guess this view is from, okay, so we're looking at it from both sides. I'm thinking the Tianhe-1 is on the right. That's what we're seeing get closer. And then on the left, we see the approaching Tianzhou 2 spacecraft. Automated docking, successful. Congratulations, China. That's really great work. This stuff is not easy, and they're getting it done. So congratulations. All right, let's see. Okay, let me pull up my calendar. Whoopsie. On the fly. All right, here we go. Looking ahead to this week, On Thursday, June 3rd, oh, I'm missing some here. Okay. So on Wednesday, June 2nd, starting at the wee hour of 1 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. GMT, begins live coverage of Russian spacewalk number 48, which is going to last for, once the spacewalk begins, about 20 minutes later, the spacewalk is expected to last for about 6.5 hours. So that will be with cosmonauts Novitsky and Dubrov. Then on Thursday, June 3rd, at 1:29 p.m. Eastern, 17:29 GMT, a SpaceX Falcon 9 will launch the Dragon 2 Cargo CRS-22 resupply mission to the ISS. Now, I know that it's easy for the unending cadence of launches and missions to just sort of become a blur, but if we actually dig into the details of some of these things, some pretty cool stuff. So on board this CRS-22 mission will be 920 kilograms of science experiments, 345 kilograms of space station hardware, 341 kilograms of crew supplies, 52 kilograms of spacewalk equipment, 58 kilograms of computer stuff, and 1,380 kilograms, or 3,040 pounds, of external payloads, including the first pair of ISS rollout solar arrays, or IROSA, that will be stowed in Cargo Dragon's trunk, the unpressurized storage area at the bottom of the spacecraft. These shorter and more efficient solar arrays, along with a second pair that will be launched in September, will be mounted to the top, or on top, of the ISS's existing solar arrays, and they will boost the ISS's power generation by up to 30%. IROSA prep spacewalks have already been conducted to prepare the mounting points with adapters to accommodate the new arrays. Other equipment on this cargo delivery will include a catalytic reactor for the station's water production capability, a commercial crew vehicle emergency breathing air assembly regulator manifold assembly, or CEBA-RMA, it doesn't make it much easier, which will be able to provide up to 5 crew members with emergency air for up to an hour in the event of an ammonia leak. Now, off the top of my head, I'm not sure where the ammonia would be leaking from on the ISS, but in the event of a leak, this system would help the crew to survive and get it fixed or whatever. A Zarya Kurs electronics unit, which will be used for cosmonaut remote control docking of Russian spacecraft. A portable water dispenser filter to remove iodine from water consumed by the crew. And some disposable, commercial off-the-shelf air tanks to support gas resupply for routine cabin repressurization activity. Some of the research on board will include experiments to support developing better drugs and therapies for kidney disease. Perhaps future generations will be spared the suffering of kidney failure because of this research and other research like it. One can hope. An experiment using cotton root systems to identify plants that require less water and pesticides. I'd be interested to know why microgravity is needed for that, but it sounds very interesting in any case, because of course water is a precious resource, and especially in space where it's not terribly abundant. Yeah, if you can identify plant species that require less water and less pesticides, you're not going to have many bugs in space, but at least for human activities, conservation of water and less use of pesticides benefits everybody. There's also an experiment to test portable ultrasound technology and microgravity. Now, I don't know if that's like medical ultrasound or like industrial ultrasound, but maybe we'll hear more about that later. There's a bobtail squid, which is along for the ride, to examine the effects of spaceflight on interactions between beneficial microbes. Here, let me just make this big. Beneficial microbes and their animal hosts. Of course, we've had human microbe hosts on the ISS for 20 years, but presumably they're doing something extra with this squid, and you can't really cut open the humans to examine them if that's the squid's fate. There are also some tardigrades, a fan favorite, whose adaptation to the harsh environment of space we will continue to study. It's hoped that this might assist in long-term problem solving for vaccine production, distribution, and storage on Earth. One of the challenges in combating a pandemic or an epidemic is that vaccines expire. Sometimes large quantities of precious vaccine have to be thrown away because they were sent to the wrong location, or they got held up in shipping, or they were improperly handled, got too hot, etc. Finally, Elana 36, a collection of 10 CubeSats from universities all across the country, will be joining this launch and will be deployed from modules that get attached to the ISS. This includes BeaverCube from MIT. I have no idea what it does, but the name is funny, and now I'm curious about it. I'll have to look up BeaverCube. Then, back to the schedule. On Saturday, June 5th at 3:30 a.m., or starting at 3:30 a.m., is coverage of the rendezvous and docking of the SpaceX CRS-22 at the ISS. So, we only have one launch this week, but we've got, in addition to that, we've got a couple of ISS streams to watch. Additionally, I'd like to make a note that today is the first anniversary of the SpaceX DM2 launch. That was the demonstration mission 2 that launched Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the space station last year. That was the very first, well, it was SpaceX's first human space flight, but it was also the very first human space flight on a commercial vehicle ever. A very historic mission. So every May the 30th, I will remind you of that. That's about it for this week. We have a new member. Thank you to Paul Baker for your support of the channel. And let me get to your questions. Do we have... Okay, looks like we're missing Chris V this week. I will go ahead and scroll back up and look for some questions. Normally somebody, one of the moderators, compiles the questions for me in Discord chat, but not everybody can be here all the time, so let's see. Here. So you can watch me be confused in big mode. Bennu time. I wish it was Bennu time. I really do think so. It was MVM Motovlog Music mentioned that it was Bennu time. Yeah, I can't use the USB webcam like I was using for Bennu because it kills my Starman stream, and like literally it, for some reason the software I was using to yeah, for some reason the software I was using to share that webcam video caused that server to like lose its internet connection completely, and I have to reset the internet connection. It kills Starman. So I'm probably going to have to buy an IP like Wi-Fi camera for Bennu, which is fine. I mean I've got the channel funds. I can just get one and set it up, but it'll take some time. Mark Desire, please don't let Cat Bennu in. It almost went fatally wrong last week. Yeah, Bennu had, during the broadcast, oh my gosh, during the broadcast, Bennu, I think he was chasing a fly, and he started trying to climb up my Yin Yang Planets tapestry in the background, and I was kind of freaking out about it. But yeah, he never does that. I think he was just chasing a bug, so he hasn't messed with the tapestry since. Dave Davies asks where he can buy the cap I'm wearing. I actually bought this SpaceX cap at the Saturn V exhibit visitor center, or the Saturn V exhibit gift shop at Kennedy Space Center in Florida in 2019. Yeah, it wouldn't have been 2020 because the world was shut down in 2020. So it was a couple years ago. I got this cap from Kennedy Space Center. They're probably available from the SpaceX shop, though. If you go to spacex.com to merch or store or whatever the link is called, you can probably get them there. JSL 151850B asks, is the copter, is that a, that sounds like an astronomical designation. Must not be. In any case, is the copter camera looking down through its own shadow? The light halo is opposition surge. I am not sure. I don't have that video queued up, but I'm not sure where the copter was with like whether the sun was at nadir, or I mean at zenith or what. But let's see, looking down at its shadow, yes. Oh yeah, snow kittens, beautiful. Oh, first of all, well, not first of all, but in any case, additionally, I'd like to welcome, during the Space Week, while we're here, I'd like to welcome Snow Kittens, or I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Dutch version of his name, but S-N-E-E-U-W, to the moderator crew. He's been a long time regular of the channel. He's been very helpful in you know, many aspects, as well as a good friend, so it's good to see him on the moderator team. You know what, let me bring up that video of there. Okay. Oh, we got multiple, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the video of, okay, we were right about there. So right before max Q, during the Falcon 9 launch, it entered the transonic phase, and it looked pretty amazing. Let's watch that.
Moments ago, we throttled the engines down in preparation for max Q, or the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the rocket will see.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Vehicle is supersonic, and we should be passing through max Q here in just a few seconds. Supersonic that the rocket will see for max Q, or the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the rocket will see.
Supersonic.
So that puff you see is what happens when the humidity in the air is condensed by the craft breaking the sound barrier. The molecules are condensed into a vapor. I mean, into a cloud, basically. You see it happen with supersonic jets and you know, other things that go supersonic. That shock wave compresses the air in front of the craft, and it produces that cool poof. Now, or cone, sort of cone of cloud. So during the broadcast, people saw that, and they weren't sure what they were seeing. They kind of freaked out. They thought that it was exploding or something. But no, it was just going transonic, or transitioning to supersonic speed. Let's see. Frigate. Okay. Snow Kittens, thanks for the correction. Always Johnny on the spot with info. So that was on the Soyuz. That was the Frigate upper stage, not the Breeze M. I guess they have a similar design. I haven't done much research on the Frigate. I did do a piece during an old SpaceWeek on the Breeze M upper stage, and it had what we were looking at with the Oneweb assembly looked similar to the sort of donut Breeze M design, but I guess Frigate is a similar. Breeze apparently is what they use on Proton. And all right. Soyuz launch streams are getting better. MVM Motovlog Music, yes they are. And plus, well, remember that was a OneWeb launch, which is Glav Cosmos, which is the commercial division of the Russian Space Agency. So, well, it's a commercial, yeah. It's a complicated arrangement, but it's the commercial division. So you can expect a little more production value from the commercial side of things because commercial customers care about that. Whereas the military, they just want you to get their stuff where it's supposed to go. Yeah, Breeze does look like a donut. All right. K2TJH, Hot Glass Radio and Ham. Definitely a bucket list item. Go to KSC, and go watch a space launch. That has got to be amazing to watch in person. I agree. And you know what? I will kick myself until I get to watch a launch in person and photograph it because I'm a photographer. In hibernation, I guess you could say. I will kick myself for not going outside and photographing, because I live in Charlotte, which is very far from Kennedy. Nonetheless, the what was it? The Crew 2 launch was actually visible from Charlotte. People took pictures of it from here, and I missed it. I was streaming at the time. I was on the in the chat, but I didn't go outside and actually look. So I still have never seen an actual rocket launch or rocket ascent with my own eyes. I've seen satellites. I've seen the ISS plenty, but not in atmosphere. All right. Snow Kittens also says that the power outage during the previous Chinese launch attempt was just coincidence. Okay, so maybe not related. LOX leakage was the cause of their both scrubs. Yeah, and I did hear about that. I just forgot to mention it. So they had an issue with LOX leaking, the liquid oxygen, and in fact, I came across a picture not from a Long March 7 launch, but from another Chinese rocket being prepared for launch, and this picture was maybe years old, but there are these hazmat suited workers surrounded by this orange cloud, which is nitrogen tetroxide, hypergolic fuel, very toxic. And there was a leak of their hypergolic fuel, and it was just sort of spilling all over the place. It looked really unpleasant. But yeah, there were multiple workers trying to get it under control. Things best avoided. Tig Rehoff asks, any idea when China might send up astronauts or taikonauts? What? Oh my gosh. So one of the mods, actually it was Chris V, posted a screenshot of the closed caption translation, the automated closed caption translation for me last week when I used the word taikonaut, and I don't remember what it said. It said some ridiculous thing like Tai Tai something ridiculous. But anyway, I want to do a video of bad closed captioning of launch coverage, like for Russian launches and things like that, because I think it would be funny, like where I personally narrate the incorrect translations, because why not? It's fun. SJ, what is this rush for all these countries to get as many satellites in orbit as possible? I don't think it's a matter of countries rushing to get lots of satellites in orbit. It's just that as the cost of launch services goes down, you know, due in part to the influence of SpaceX and their reusable rockets, as well as costs of scale and so on. In addition to the fact that we are living in an increasingly connected world where you know, technology is employed all around us to provide all sorts of services and information. You know, there's a lot that we can do from space that we can't do from Earth. You know, observing the weather, observing changes in you know, land foliage on land. You know, communications between continents. You know, all sorts of stuff, and as well as research. You know, there's research that can be done in space that can't be done anywhere else, because of the because of Earth's gravity mainly. You know, we can create pretty good vacuums here on Earth, but we can't create lack of gravity on Earth. And in fact, you know, microgravity in orbit is really an illusion, because in fact you are subject to gravity. You know, even on the ISS they experience, like the ISS itself is experiencing about 0.9 Gs of gravity versus 1.0 Gs on the ground. However, because it's traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, it's constantly sort of falling around the Earth, and so it that's what orbit is. It's basically moving forward so fast that the rate at which it falls matches the rate at which it moves forward. So it just keeps going in a circle forever and ever until the stray molecules of atmosphere up there at 250 miles slow it down over time, and they have to reboost it. But let's see. SJ, I've heard Falcon 9 launches have been delayed. I mean, most launches, statistically, most launches do get delayed. There's delays and scrubs for all sorts of reasons, ranging from weather to ground equipment issues to, you know, to issues with the vehicle or the payload. Sometimes range conflicts, or even, you know, boats, like boats wandering into the exclusion zone can scrub a launch. Tig Rayhoff making a joke about kilograms. I used kilograms because I didn't want to say both kilograms and pounds for every piece of equipment on the cargo ship, because that's excessive. Canon Lucas, is this last rocket booster from China out of control like the other one? No. The Chinese booster that deorbited in an uncontrolled fashion over the Indian Ocean was a Long March 5 or 5B core stage booster. That is a big rocket. It's China's biggest rocket, and the reason why it deorbited like that was because the booster achieved orbital velocity. Now, normally first stages don't achieve orbital velocity. They just arc into the ocean, you know, hundreds of miles downrange from the launch site. Or in the case of the China's inland launch centers, they arc down onto, you know, the land somewhere. But in the case of the Long March 5, it did achieve orbital velocity, which means it was going fast enough to get out of the atmosphere and enter orbit around the Earth. Now, it wasn't a nice circular orbit; it was a very sort of elongated orbit. But yeah. Now, the Long March 7 rocket that launched the Tianzhu 2 cargo craft to the Chinese space station did not. I don't know. I don't even know if it can. I don't know if the first stage is able to achieve orbital velocity, and so it would have splashed down just a few minutes after the launch. Let's see. Rick Wright. Where is Starman and the Tesla car in space? So if we go to whereisroadster.com, let's check it out. Oh, they're moving fast. Okay, let's go back. So currently, the Roadster is 46 million miles from Earth. That's 75 million kilometers, or about 1/2 of an astronomical unit. So it's about half the distance between the Earth and the Sun. It is that far away from the Earth. And as we can see from the little inset picture, it is to our left in this top-down view of the solar system. Let's see. Okay, looking for more questions. I wish that I had the ability, I wish my brain had the ability to babble while scanning the chat, but I'm a task switcher. I do one thing, I switch to another thing, and I can't speak coherently and read coherently at the same time. Kenneth with a good quote. I'm not sure who this is attributed to, but the sky calls to us. If we do not destroy ourselves, we will one day venture to the stars. That's what most of us space enthusiasts hope for. Though journeying to other stars is a long way off, much longer than we wish it was. Oop. All right. Ken and Lucas with the sharp eye. Yes, that is a Voldemort wand in the back. Hold on, let me get it for you. Yeah, this is Voldemort's wand. It's a really nice product, actually, very well made. This is not a toy, it's more of a showpiece. Got this from the wand shop, from Ollivander's wand shop at the Harry Potter experience at Disney or Universal, wherever, a few years ago. But, we watched a lot of Harry Potter in earlier years, so. Okay. More questions. Scott Montoya. Do you think they will launch SN15 again, or will they just scrap it and go on to SN16? That depends on their engineering objectives, and you know, they have proven, because SpaceX doesn't like to, they don't like redundancy. You know, it's like Elon Musk says, the best part is no part, the best process is no process. They really tend toward minimalism, kind of like Tesla, in fact. You know, my Model 3 has no instrumentation. It's just the screen, the screen in the center of the console. The rest of the dash is just, you know, empty. You know, look at Crew Dragon. It's you've got your control displays. Other than that, it's you know, clean, uncluttered, minimalist design, and so, you know, that philosophy extends to their testing regime as well. They you know, they don't, like, if SN15, they may have made modifications to SN16 that aren't on SN15, in which case they would want to test those modifications, and SN15 couldn't do that for them. So they've already proved the reusability of the Starship prototype, at least once. So, you know, as for whether they'll use SN15 or not, that entirely depends on whether they feel that it would be beneficial to gathering the data they need. And I'm not privy to those discussions at all. You know, I don't know anything about that. Not being an insider at SpaceX. But if they don't fly it again, it hopefully will end up as a static display somewhere. It's pretty big though, so they'll probably just move it somewhere else on site, maybe as a as a welcome thing, you know. Let's see, Thomas T. What do you think about upcoming U.S. intelligence report? Not aware of any particular U.S. intelligence reports that are upcoming. I mean, I used to be in Air Force intelligence, but that was a long time ago. I'm not sure what that's regarding, but let's see. June 10th, that soon. Werner von Braun is saying June 10th, Long March 2F, Shenzhou 12. Long March 2F will launch the Shenzhou 12 spacecraft with multiple Chinese astronauts to rendezvous and dock with the Chinese space station in low Earth orbit. So it'll actually be the China's 7th crewed space mission, but it will be the first to this new space station. So China has sent taikonauts or Chinese astronauts to space before, but this particular space station is new. This is their sort of their ISS, whereas the previous one was not designed for long-term use. Actually, the previous two were not designed for long-term use. Werner von Braun asks, how do you draw a cat's attention? I mean, you could always or I could just call his name or say kitty kitty. Werner von Braun asking if the wand is a cheap replica or if it's real. Well, it's not an actual magic wand. I can't Crucio you, but it is well made. It's a very nicely made wand. I'd say it's very high quality for a collectible. You know, it's not like I mean, it is made of, you know, it's not like made of titanium or whatever, but it's not cheap plastic either. I think it's, I'm not sure exactly what it's made of, but it's quite nice. Universal Studios, thank you. Yeah, Microbyte would know. He lives there. I did have to be careful with it though, because it is long and skinny, and the wand is the Voldemort wand, and at the time we got it, or at the time I got it, my kids were quite young, and I had to make sure that it didn't get into their hands, because, you know, kids and sticks, they would be whacked and it would break, and I would be sad. Down the Tubes asks, what do you think of the Canadarm2 on the International Space Station getting a hole in it? I hadn't seen any news regarding damage to the Canadarm2, but I'd be interested to look that up, because Canadarm2 is pretty much irreplaceable, for one thing, and also critical for space station maintenance and operations. They use it to not only move objects and components around the station, like, for example, they're going to use, you know, Canadarm to mount to put the new solar panels in place, but also it carries astronauts as well to various locations around the space station. You can sometimes see spacewalks where there will be an astronaut riding the end of Canadarm way far away from the core of the station. It's really quite dramatic. Canon Lucas asks, are the ISS crew authorized to help the Chinese taikonauts if they have a problem? It doesn't really work that way, because they would have no way to get there. There's nothing they could do to help them. I mean, an orbit is what it is. You know, an object in motion will tend to stay in motion unless it's acted upon by an outside force. Now, in the case of the ISS, that outside force can include stray molecules of atmosphere that gradually slow it down over the course of weeks and months, which require another outside force, which is the thrusting of, you know, a Progress craft booster to increase the space station's height by a few miles or a few kilometers periodically. So, yeah, I mean, the ISS and the Chinese space station are in entirely different orbits, and there's no way to get from one to the other without expending a lot of without a lot of delta V, without expending a lot of fuel to dramatically change your orbit. And fuel is weight, and weight is expensive to get into space. So it would be, if there was a problem on the Chinese space station that required some sort of rescue, then China would have a couple of options. They could try to mount a rescue mission, you know, by launching another Shenzhou crew spacecraft with a rescue crew, or a rescue, yeah, I'm not sure how many people that craft can accommodate, but or maybe they could launch a Shenzhou unmanned, so that it could dock and whatever, or they could abandon the crew to their fate. I mean, it's, you know, the options are limited. You know, if the Chinese crew was unable to undock and safely, excuse me, if the Chinese crew was unable to undock and safely deorbit from their space station, you know, in their Shenzhou craft, like, you know, like the Soyuz or the Crew Dragon, is also a rescue craft. If there's an emergency, they can get in and leave. But if they couldn't do that, then, yeah, options become limited. You either have to send a mission up to rescue them, or the space station becomes their tomb. It's kind of grim, but space is hard. And they all accept that risk when they sign up for the program. Unless someone else signs them up for the program, in which case Um, all right. So it looks like we have caught up with the questions, and let's see, how many people do I still have? 57. So I want to do one more thing, and that is let you know about some new products. Raw space. What's the URL? There it is. I want to let you know about some new products on the Walmart Raw Space store. So every once in a while, I go to Teespring, Teespring, which is the merch partner that, or rather the merch provider that is partnered with YouTube, the only one, and see if they have any new products on offer, like new stuff that you can put your designs on. And so, you know, we've got the mugs and the t-shirts and the stickers. There's a new design that I put up, the Space Steak, which is, it was just a funny, sort of really a joke. It's this sort of 8-bit pixelated raw steak in space, representative of raw space, that I get a kick out of it. And if I get a kick out of it, then maybe somebody else will too. But they also have new products, such as the 20-ounce tumbler, which is a stainless steel tumbler with the Yin Yang Planets design on it. I did a full wraparound with space so that it looks should look pretty cool. I've ordered samples, you know, so because I have to pay for those. But I ordered samples, a couple $100 worth of product samples, but they will take maybe a couple weeks to get here. Let's see if I can find some of the new products. There's a stainless steel water bottle. They did not have the option of a different background color, so it's going to be white, but it's going to have the Yin Yang Planets on it. There are a couple new kinds of shirts, and I don't really understand all the subtle differences between the shirts, but I'm sure that if you look at their descriptions, you can figure it out. Oh, I'm excited about this one. They have a fleece blanket. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's a 60 by 80 inch fleece blanket that I'm definitely looking forward to keeping warm in. There's a yoga mat if you'd like an out of this world exercise experience. A face mask and tumbler, is that what they call it? No, a pint glass. Now this is just a mock-up. The Yin Yang Planets looks a little bit elongated in that view. It looks a little more circular in this one. But let's see, anything else? I think that might be it. I just wanted to show you a few of those things because I'm excited to get them myself because you know I love me some Yin Yang Planets. But I am going to be coming up with some more t-shirt designs. Well, yeah, mainly t-shirt designs with some, you know, lighthearted, jokey type stuff, as well as some you know, maybe SpaceX-y type stuff. But I want to offer a lot more than just the you know, the 2 or 3 designs that are currently on there, because, you know, for one thing, I want the shirts myself. I mean, I want to wear them, but also, you know, it's fun and it lets us show off what we're interested in. So, anyway, Rick Wright says I should have a Starman design on shirts. Yeah, I could maybe come up with some sort of stylized Starman. I don't like to. I mean, the Yin Yang Planets is a custom creation using NASA, you know, NASA images of Earth and Mars. But aside from that, I don't like to reuse somebody else's image and like taking a a screenshot from the Starman video. Maybe I could stylize it somehow so it's not really, you know, it's not like copying Starman, and sort of make it my own. But or I could do. Oh my gosh, where is that thing? Oh yeah, never mind. Anyway, getting back on Starman pajamas, I do wish they offered more products. They don't have pajamas, interestingly enough. They have, in fact, they used to, no, they never had underwear. I think that was, what's that other big merch site? Not Teespring, but I don't know. There's like a ubiquitous merch site that is very popular. They had like underwear and stuff. I had made a joke to, I think it was Friday Ray. I think he wanted pajamas, and I said something else. But all right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate you being here. And keep it raw, and I'll see you next time. Until then.